What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillispie here with you for Bama Insider and the Bama Insider YouTube channel. BamaInsider.com. It's Alabama's rival site. We follow the Crimson Tide. And every Sunday night, we get together and we talk about Alabama football. I know a lot of you guys are ready and amped to talk about last night's game, and that's what this show is going to be. So for the next hour, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take your calls at 205-850-0883. Get those calls in. I'm going straight to the calls because I know a lot of you have been thinking about this one. You've been burning on what happened last night. You're upset. Maybe you're worried. Maybe you feel like Alabama's done. Maybe you feel like it's going to be great motivation. And I gave my take last night. I don't think that it's the end for Alabama. I think that this is how Nick Saban does his best coaching. I think that when the guys lose, they don't pay attention, that we underestimate an opponent, whatever. I think that Alabama is a team that with Nick Saban has always seemed to bounce back from these scenarios. But a 19-game winning streak snapped and a really disappointing loss on a last-second field goal to a Texas A&M team that had to have it. Alabama still has everything in front of them. If they win out, they go to the SEC championship game. They win that, I'm guessing they play for the college football playoff. All right, the number as we sit here on a Sunday night is 205-850-0883. Do me a favor, guys. I know as much as it hurts right now, and I feel the same way, you couple that with Deontay Wilder's loss to Tyson Fury, and my heart was just ripped out last night. Thumbs up, subscribe, and again, thank you for being part of the Bama Insider YouTube channel. All right. Let's go right to the phone lines and get this thing started and talk about the game. Maybe crack a cold beer. Who's this and where are you calling from?
My name is Edward Tunnell from Poughkeepsie, New York.
What's up, man? How's Poughkeepsie tonight?
Poughkeepsie is good. I'm a big Alabama fan. My father was born in Alabama and he moved to New York, so I became a big Alabama fan. I have two questions.
Yeah.
Why didn't they run the ball in the red zone? They ran the ball last week for 4 touchdowns, and this week they didn't get B-Rob the ball at once. They are passing the ball too much because they bought Bryce Young to win the Heisman. Later with that, our offensive line is too much dominant, and we need to run the ball. We gave up 12 to 15 points just not running the ball and kicking field goals. And my next question is, the defensive coordinator got to go. You've been there 3 years. Our defense stinks.
Well, let's start with the running the ball. It's hard to argue. I mean, you get down inside the in the red zone and you got these pass plays. One was an interception. I agree with you, man. I was kind of looking at it the same way. I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to pound it in here. That's what got us down the field, right? And, you had the interception to trying to get the ball to Billingsley down there. That was a killer play in the game. The field goals stink. You don't win on the road with field goals. Alabama's never been a field goal team. But just the way that things were going last night, I got it. I mean, Nick Saban was trying to, was basically trying to manage the game to get the lead. They did. They had the lead by 7 at the end, and they couldn't hold them. And then you're talking about Pete Golding on defense. Look, the game plan was awful in the first half. I mean, let's. I think anyone that's watching right now can agree with that. I don't know that there's, Pete Golding's under a lot of pressure. The Ole Miss game plan was amazing. And this week wasn't good. No doubt about it. I mean, I can't sit here and make excuses up for Pete. I like Pete, but you know what? That the performance in that football game, there was no pass rush at all. I mean, it was like, and this is an offensive line that's just gotten their butts whooped the entire season. And Alabama came in there and it was like we were just standing still. Well, look, I appreciate Are you still there? Yeah, man. Anything you want to add to that?
Oh, yes. Only that is that, the pass rush, I've been like against Arkansas and Mississippi State. Those guys just rushed with 3 people, and they was getting to the quarterback. We can't even get a quarterback back. And I think Malachi Moore getting ejected in the first quarter really hurt us last night too.
Oh, no doubt, man. Look, you take Malachi Moore out in the first half, and then don't forget that Jason McClellan wasn't there. You know, all those blitzes that they were running, when you have him back there, he's like that little safety valve guy. You flip him the ball, and he's good for 8, 10, 15 yards every time he catches it.
Yes. Well, we still can make the playoffs, so we just got to run the table like we did a couple of years ago. So I hope we can do a Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide, man. Thanks for the call from Poughkeepsie. I used to live in Hightstown up there in New Jersey, so I know about Poughkeepsie back when I was a kid. All right, look, like and subscribe, guys. Get those calls in. I'm going to go to the calls, and I'm going to get all you guys in. We're going to talk for the next hour, so get those in. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. This is the Bama Insider YouTube channel. We're talking about Alabama's loss last night to Texas A&M. You can talk about Mississippi State. But, look, I think that collectively you guys probably know exactly how I feel. Like somebody just ran up and kicked me right between the legs, and I'm going to the phone line to one of the best guys that we have on this show and part of our channel here, Jarvis from Texas. I mean, am I understating that, Jarvis? I mean, does it feel like somebody just came up and gut punched you today?
Oh, man. I'm still in shock, Mick. A Roll Tide to you, by the way, and like you said, compounded with the Wilder fight, it just was a tough day for T-Town yesterday.
Man, I love Deontay. You know, I've interviewed him 3 times. I met him when he was just an up-and-comer. He was doing his fights at the old mall that they tore down. You know, that hurts as much as the football game to me. I'll be honest. I just really wanted I wanted it for Deontay. You know, and he fought a good fight, but Tyson Fury's just better. At least, you know, he's bigger and he's got the bigger reach. And he just lays on you, and he's a really good technical fighter. Deontay's a puncher, but my heart hurts for Deontay too, man. It really does. It was just today's been like, you know, it's like getting hit twice.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of speaking back on the game, I wasn't against Pete Golding. You know, I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. You know, we had injuries and things in the past, but the thing that really makes me kind of focus in on Pete Golding is the fact that we've given up 70 points in 2 SEC road football games against Florida and Texas A&M, and those 2 teams don't have an offense at all. 70 points, I mean, that's kind of what makes me look at Pete Golding.
I look, the game plan, I can't – I feel like everything was so bad yesterday that calling Pete Golding out would be forgetting everyone else that did something to contribute to that loss. And that was what Nick Saban said after the game. And even Nick Saban could have done better, right? I mean, you're talking about the offensive line that didn't block in the first half. And, you know, how many assignments were missed by the running backs when they're supposed to help? You know, how many balls were dropped in that game? The defense got no pressure in the first half, and then when the game was on the line, they went back to getting no pressure again. I can't put it all on Pete Golding. I put some of it on him, but I put some of it on Bill O'Brien, and I put some of it on the players, and I put some of it on Nick Saban. It's tough to win week in and week out in college football because you start to get full of yourself. Alabama played their best game against Ole Miss. They lost to a Texas A&M team that, mark my words, they're going to lose some more this year. It's not like they're going to turn around and be a good team. They're going to stink again, just like they did against Mississippi State and Arkansas. When they lose to Ole Miss, when they lose to Auburn, they're going to lose those games. And you're going to be like, how did they beat Alabama? Because last night, give them credit, they were the team that didn't turn the football over a lot. They didn't make the bad mistakes. They rushed the passer. They blocked. They were the more prepared and more focused team. They earned that win, and Alabama gave it away. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more, Mick. And one thing I will say about this team, I know we're young, but we don't have that edge. Like, we don't play with I mean, a few players like Jameson Williams, Will Anderson, you can see their passion. Like when we're on the road and when we're down, like you don't see that alpha dog just kind of, trying to rally the troops and like, hey, let's get this together. Like I just don't sense that edge on the defensive side of the ball. And the offensive line like played soft last night as well. I mean, like you said, there's blame to go around. I mean, every part of that, the team deserves some blame for last night's performance.
You know what's tough about that loss is that Alabama's better than them every single day of the week. It's not like you lost to a team that you look on paper and you're like, okay, they just have like when we lost to Clemson in the national championship game and you look on paper and you're like, you know what, man, they got the defensive line is good and the running back's going to be an NFL guy and their quarterback's the first overall pick and all this. Alabama lost to a team that's not good. They lost to a team that's not good. And I think that's the part of it that hurts the most. 100 straight games winning against teams that were unranked. But that's how you lose games. You go in, you're not focused, you turn the ball over, you don't block at the line of scrimmage, you miss assignments. I think losing Malachi Moore was a big deal. But you know what? There's a lot of guys that won opportunities that are superstar talent, 4 and 5 star guys that need to get their heads ready because you're always one thing. And I would say one injury, but now it's like, one, head hit, anything. You're always 1 second away from being in the game. And that's what Nick Saban preaches, paying attention to detail, doing the little things right. I got a feeling that these guys are going to be a lot more focused now.
I think so too, Mick. And I have 2 more points here before I let you get somebody else, because I know today is going to be a really hot calling day. My first point is I hate it had to be Jimbo Fisher. After what he said this summer about, when they asked him, what would it take for him to beat Alabama while Nick Saban's there? Does he need to retire first? And he said, no, we're going to while he's there. I hate the fact that he was able to back that comment up more so. And the second thing is that looking at the schedule, it's interesting that we play next weekend on the road at night again in the SEC against the team that just beat Texas A&M at home. So if there was ever like a perfect lining of the stars to see how we come out against this Mississippi State team, we don't need to just win this game. We need to dominate in every aspect of the game next week. So it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, how we come out, especially next week, but moving forward as well. Yeah,
look, we're going to come out ready. I mean, we're going to come out focused. I don't doubt that. I honestly, if we didn't lose Jace, we wouldn't have lost the game. But he's somebody else. Roy Dell's got to be ready to play every day, every play. Brian Robinson. I like Brian Robinson. I love B-Rob. I love his heart. But he's just not like a game breaker, man. He's just like a run you over, straight ahead guy. 5, 6, 8 yards. But when he gets in the clear, he's not gonna Najee Harris into the end zone. You know what I'm saying? That's just not his game. Now Jace was that guy, and now it's got to be Roy Dell, or it's got to be Sanders. But somebody else has got to be ready to jump up into that spot to me, because we got to have that game breaking guy at running back to complement and B-Rob. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And last thing I will say is, this week is going to be a good set time for us. And we'll see who. I think everybody's job, except for Bryce Young, Jameson Williams, Will Anderson, a few guys, but I think other than that, every job should be kind of up for grabs. We need that dog mentality, and if you don't want to bring it, we'll have to put somebody else in there. But I'll let you get somebody else in the call, Mick. Thanks for taking my call, and Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide, Jarvis. Always great to hear from you. Dude, you said it, though, man. You said it exactly the way that it needs to be said. Every single job needs to be open right now, especially on the offensive line. Every job. You show up and you beat that guy for the position, you should get in the game. I'm all about loyalty, but you know what? We're at that point now where it's time to go out there and get it done. And if this team's going to win a championship, if this team's going to be special, they're going to have to win these games. And the offensive line, I mean, that there looks like there's some positions on that line that could easily be taken by some of the talent that they have that in the wings waiting. All right, guys, like and subscribe as you hang out on a Sunday night. Give us the thumbs up. Let's go back to the phones. I'm going to get to all you guys, so make sure you stick around on the phones as we talk. And I'm going to Huntsville. Another one of our great All-American callers here is Sean from Huntsville. What's up, Sean?
What's up, Mick? How you guys doing, man?
Dude, I mean, I'll tell you what, man, the loss hurt, and then Deontay losing hurt. I mean, it's not been a great day for me. I don't know about all you guys out there, but to me,
yeah,
it like I woke up today and it was like, oh, like the first thing in my brain was, man, I hated for Deontay. Man, I hated for Alabama football.
Man, I took a triple whammy. My alma mater, Alabama A&M University up here in Huntsville, where I played my ball at. They had some injuries came out, and Deion came up here and whacked us about 60-something to 15. So I took a triple L yesterday.
You know what I'm talking about.
Of course, my Tide and my alma mater. So it was a bad, rough day in the state of Alabama yesterday, man. The first thing I want to say is, I think we'll bounce back from this, man. I know we keep saying that every time we have a bad showing, but I gotta keep it honest, man. I gotta keep it honest. I saw some horrible, horrible things. I put this on BamaInsider on the forum today. I never understood why Coach Saban. We never know what's going on behind the scenes, so I never understood why he was on Jaleel so much. But I think I understand now, man. I'm not calling the kid lazy because I don't know that young man. But on the field, you can't tell me his play is lazy, bro. It is. That kid whiffs on blocks like he don't like to block. If you notice, they put camera lot 2 in when we start running most of the run plays. We were so obvious yesterday, man. We ran behind Evan Neal 90% of the time, and rightfully so. But we were so predictable. Jaleel don't like to block, man. Coming across the formation, inside catches. He don't like to catch the ball. He'll catch the fly routes and the deep routes all day long. But these kids, if they want to go to the NFL, you're not going to be able to run 9 routes in the NFL all day. Ask Kyle Pitts.
Right.
You're going to have to learn how to block. You're going to have to learn how to catch stuff underneath. You're going to get hit. It's a collision sport. So I was very disappointed. The drag route he ran across the formation, that wasn't Bryce's fault. He ran a very lazy route. Even Saban said so. He didn't use names, but I knew exactly who he was talking about. He just casually ran across the formation with no type of fake or no type of sense of urgency at all. I don't know what was wrong with us yesterday, man. Interceptions, fumbles, and God bless him. I love Chris Owens. I respect him. He's a very intelligent young man, but that young man is struggling bad. I think he gave up 3 or 4 sacks, and I'm being very nice when I say 3 or 4 sacks. When he wasn't giving up sacks, that young man was getting constantly beat. And I thought it was very, very telling when Coach Saban didn't. Usually when you get beat like that, they'll let the running back help him and chip him. They never did that. You know why? Because they was killing us on other gaps. They was blitzing us. We struggled all around yesterday, man. Offense, defense. Think about it. We gave up a special teams touchdown yesterday. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said this on this show last year.
Sean, that special teams touchdown was just – just hold your thought, man. I just got to just kind of jump in with you here just for a second. I mean, what the hell happened? If they tackled that dude, they weren't going to score a touchdown in that second half. If you tackle that guy and it's over. Let the guy run right down the field, the short kickoff. We couldn't return a kick for a touchdown because their kicker kicks it into the end zone every time.
That's a fact.
That's all I wanted to say. Pick it up where you left off.
It's crazy, man, because when have you guys out there, the guys who've been following Alabama football all your lives, when have we ever got to the 1 yard line and went and threw 3 straight passes?
No. When we lost to these guys last time when they had Johnny Manziel, I was standing at the 5 yard line. We made these shirts run the damn ball because we're like, you got to be kidding me.
I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe it. B-Rob was absolutely gutting them like a fish.
Yep.
We got down there in that red zone, and we didn't even attempt to run him. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So to have Bryce and let that kid throw the ball 48 times, That's telling. Think about that. Almost 50 pass attempts, man. That we can't win like that.
No.
We cannot win like that. Now, I will say this. Here's a bright spot. Jameson Williams has implemented himself as obviously the best receiver on this team. That kid is a dog, man. Even when they roll coverage to his side, he still makes the play.
Oh, how about the 2-point conversion catch?
Yeah, exactly. I just don't know, man. I get so frustrated when I see it because they'll leave Mechie one-on-one. And it seems like the only thing Mechie's converting on is these underneath routes. I don't know what it is with John. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not sure.
Well, he doesn't have NFL guys.
Passes.
Sean, he doesn't have NFL guys around him now. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a Heisman Trophy winner lining up, to his right or left. He doesn't have the fastest guy in the SEC running out there. He's getting the best guy every single game. And now I'm guessing that it'll be Williams, but I mean, and he's quiet, and I'm wondering where are these other guys at? You got all these 4- and 5-star receivers. It might be time to see who else can play. Where's Baker? I want to see Baker. I mean, where's he at? Is he can't get on the field? I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
The
thing is, everybody we play from here on out will at least try to use that defensive pattern. They'll try to all-out blitzes.
Oh, it's not going to work.
They'll try to create confusion.
It won't work.
So, if you're going to take a bright spot out, if there's any bright spot to take, guys, hopefully they're going to get this corrected in practice because it don't get no easier. It doesn't get any easier for us throughout the year. I think we have Arkansas, Auburn, Mississippi State, who beat Texas A&M.
Right.
So, and then again, let's give Texas A&M some credit too. Jimbo is a hell of a coach, man.
He is.
He really is. He knows how to scheme. He's a hell of a coach, man. And you knew what Saban is trying to tell these young kids is you're everybody's Super Bowl. Every week you go to gonna have a record attendance.
That's right.
Every week. So you got to step up, man. You got to step up. And it hurt me so bad when I seen the former players tweeting, run the damn ball. I was so mad. I was screaming at my TV, man. So, but we going to be all right, man.
Sean, there were so many things that pissed me off in that game. The turnovers.
Yeah, me and you both.
The penalties. I'm wondering, how far do we go with some of these offensive linemen that just aren't good enough? They're backups. And we got them in there right now because they're there and they put in the time. And, and some of those guys, like you said, like Owens, you got to love the guy, man. Like he's a scholar athlete. He's a real college guy, man. Like he's got like a 3.75 GPA but he's just not good enough. Look,
you're right.
You're not winning the championship with him and Ikior and those guys. You got to go and you got to get the Brockermeyers in there. You got these dudes that have come in, 5-star guys. They're going to be like Evan Neal type players. You better find a way to get them in the game because this offensive line, it's not good enough. Like they can run block, but they don't pass block sometimes. They do sometimes. Like the way that they got shredded last night, that's when you're on your way back and you're going, you know what? I gave these guys a chance. Just like they did with Jalen Hurts, and it might be 2 at time. It might be time at least iron it out in practice. You go out and get all these blue chip guys. They need to be in there playing because the offensive line's why you win and lose games. I mean, look, the defensive line stunk, but today's day and age of football, it's all about scoring.
That's a fact. The fact that we couldn't give that young man any help is telling as well. He had to be out there, right tackle. He got short arms. He's definitely an interior lineman. He struggled mightily, man. Mightily. And the film is going to tell the story. But listen, I'm going to let you get some other people in here, man. Tell Kyle I said what's up. Bone, I said what's up. You guys do a great job, and we'll continue to support.
Hey, thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. I'll pass that on. Kyle's on assignment tonight. He'll be back soon. He had to take care of some stuff. Of course, Andrew Bone will be back on Tuesday with his latest on recruiting. Guys, I'm going back to the phones. You guys have been waiting. I appreciate that. I'm going to get to you. Make sure you hang out with us. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. The comment section is hot tonight. I appreciate that. You guys duke it out on there. Be kind to each other, but talk your football. I love it. I like a little back and forth. just make sure you remember, let's be civil to each other as we hang out here on Bama Insider. All right, back to the phones again, talking about Alabama. And it seems like tonight we're kind of getting into last night's game more than Mississippi State. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Demetrius from North Carolina there, Mick.
Demetrius, what's up, dude?
Hey, I just got to call it like I see it. Every aspect of the game, we got our hind end. Well, I mean, I can even say Big Al got his hind end. The way they played yesterday. It was just a team. It was a team loss. Ain't nobody from Coach Nick Saban, Bill O'Brien, Pete Golden to the players, special teams. I mean, every aspect they just got manhandled. They got made to look. They look mediocre. They look mediocre at best.
Yep.
I mean, just call like I said, and these hopefully we can bounce back, but some decisions got to be made. Hey, if you can't, you can't. I mentioned this before. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. One group got to step up. Whether it's offensive line, defensive backs, receivers, running backs. Somebody got to step up and state their claim as, who gonna lead this team. This is our way forward. And from the offensive play calling to defensive play calling, I'm like, huh? Really? I mean, and then the previous caller made a comment, and I agree with it. Hey, some of these young fellas that's up next, hey, give them a chance, get in the game. I mean, offensive line just, I hate to talk about young men because I had a family member that played in college football and made it to the pros. I ain't gonna mention no names, but the offensive line was just putrid, and somebody got to step up.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. I thought the offensive line stunk. I thought there's too much blame to just put it on one person. Billingsley dropping the balls, the rest of the guys dropping the balls, the interception in the end zone, the play calling, defense, offense. I put a lot of it on the offensive line because they should have done better. And I think just the way football is now, you got to have your offensive line and your offense. I mean, it's set up for you to score points. And they didn't give poor Bryce much time at all. I mean, he was getting smoked all night in that first half. And then they came back. And then when, here we go at the end of the game, we got a chance to drive down the win and they throw it away. They did everything that you can do to lose a football game last night. No pressure now. You lost. You gave it away, but the good thing is, and I'm telling you guys, I was on the sideline watching us throw the ball and not run it against Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M, whenever that was. I was standing right there. I'm like, throw the ball. No, run the ball, right? We didn't run it. We lost the game. We come back. We win the national championship. I think that I don't know that this team's going to win a national championship, but what I'm saying is that it is set up for them to, if they run the table, to win the national championship or get to the playoff. I don't think it's over. I just think it's a loss. It sucks. But I think that Alabama is still very much alive right now and that Nick Saban's going to have everybody's attention.
I mean, number one, you playing at Alabama, you should have everybody's attention anyway because you're going to take everybody's best game in, game out. I mean, that's just I reflect. I mean, I hate to go on myself. I got moved up to varsity when I was a freshman. It was cost that, upperclassmen, and we had a new coach, and he wasn't going for it. I don't care nothing about the booster club. I care about winning. And I got moved up to varsity, and my uncle told me to tell the coach, "Hey, I ain't getting moved up to varsity just to sit here and look. I want to play." Hey, if you can't, if these juniors and seniors can't cut the mustard, hey, I'm not going to be sitting right here. And, like I did from top to bottom, Texas A&M, they flat out beat us. Don't know why. Still on the. I mean, I sold a lot of Wolf tickets and to other people, and I'm most disappointed in the offensive line. I mean, but you have 2 returning starters from last year. That should be sufficient enough, and I'm just flabbergasted about the offensive line play. I mean, come on, man. It's APB out on them guys. Where y'all at? I mean,
yeah.
I just don't understand it.
Yep. I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see what happens at practice this week, because I would think that there's some guys, Latham, Brockermeyer, who knows? You got the best offensive lineman out of high school in the country back there, and it might be time to let those guys get in. If you're going to lose games like that, you might as well lose with guys that are going to help you win in the future.
Exactly. But I didn't want to hold you up too long. I mean, I'm still processing. I'm probably watch the game a couple more times while I'm out here on the road, but yeah, it was just putrid. I mean, every aspect of the game, you name it, it was putrid. I don't know why it was, but it was just, still scratching my head. Hey, and I know you see the talent on that team. You see the talent, and you come to play in Alabama, you know you're gonna give everybody the best shot. But we have seen this before though.
Yep.
Several times we ran the table, so that's why we got the best coach in the. Regardless, we had the best coach in college football, and if anybody gonna steer the ship, anybody gonna make a decision, whether it's the coordinators or the players, I trust Nick Saban.
Yep, me too. Demetrius, thank you for calling in again this week, my friend. Really appreciate it.
All right, roll tide.
Roll tide. All right, guys, like, subscribe, hit the bell as you hang out. I'm going right back to the phone lines, and I think this is Eric from Alabama. Eric, is this you?
Hey, yeah, this is Eric.
What's up, man? Roll Tide.
Hey,
give me your thoughts.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
And I tell you, that game was, like has been already said, we lost on every side of the ball. Coaching was bad last night. When we should have been running the ball, we didn't run the ball, which, if you notice, the times that we have had losses like this against teams, even I think about Johnny Manziel, they had the perfect storm for Texas A&M. In special teams, where we had either a muff punt or a punt man back for a touchdown or something like that, or we'll get some momentum and then the momentum is taken away from us immediately because the guys are not focused. And that, I tell you what I believe is going on a lot down there is that the players, is like what you said, they are feeling themselves.
Oh, tasting themselves. You ever heard that comment? You ever heard that saying before, Eric? They're tasting themselves. After that Ole Miss game, easy to do it, man. It's easy to taste yourself when you go in there and just whoop up on Ole Miss like that. And they played a great game. But it's it. You got another one the next week, and you got another one the next week.
Got another one. And that's what Coach Saban been talking about even in practice. He's been saying that in his interviews, that the focus, the intensity, and playing 4 complete quarters. We haven't played 4 complete quarters yet on offense,
you're right,
defense, or with our special teams, or we're talking about, and I agree that we need to make some changes, even if it's given, even some of these wide receivers. We're talking about the wide receivers. We got a bunch of speed down there, but here we got Slade Bolden, who's we can't get no speed out of Slade, like Slade. But we ain't gonna get no speed out of Slade Bolden. We got other 5-star wide receivers sitting over there, but we're not utilizing them.
Right.
Put these young kids out there and give them some opportunities at least to see what they can do in a game.
Yep.
We got 5-star Brooks, who made the play on special teams and blocking. Come on. Jai Hall, who showed out in spring. Yet He ain't got on the field yet. These are big time plays, man. Let these guys get out there and get a chance to see what they can do and see what we can do. And we're talking about all facets of the game. Bill O'Brien play calling has been questionable. We go away from the run too much, even in the other games. We need to. D-Rob is slashing them, and we're going away from the run.
Right.
It's disappointing.
One of those other guys, Eric's got to jump up and help, because B-Rob's not a game breaker. He's a battering ram, but he's not a game breaker. We got to, and now that we don't have McClellan, who is, Roydell's got to step up, or Sanders, and Sanders is. We're not even seeing Sanders, so I don't know what is going on there. But I'm going to believe that he must not be doing too good in practice, because they're not confident enough to put him in the games. You know, Roydell caught the touchdown, but nobody covered him on the play last night, and he wasn't even in there that much. It was all B-Rob.
Yeah. I'm wondering what's going on with Sanders too, because early on, before his injury, Sanders was really looking very good, but he thought that Sanders was going to be the next Najee Harris. And Sanders does give you that burst. He gives you that speed on the outside when he breaks through. He also gives you power, but I don't know if the hip or the accident has affected him in a greater deal than what we know or what is being publicized. But I felt like I've seen him get out there a few times, and the few times he looked good, but we don't give him enough. They ain't giving him enough. Give him some chances, man. I believe if he ain't able to do it in practice, I understand. But we don't know that. But I just think there's something. It just don't. Everything is. The mentality this year is just like something is missing. When they came out, even though we drove the ball for the first touchdown, they still looked out of sync. They did not look the same. And so I don't know what's going on with I do know what's going on. It's a mentality. It's a mindset, like one of the young men said. It's a mindset for as a dog. Where's our alpha dog? Where's the leadership? Where's the ones that are going to stand up on the sideline and say, hey, guys, we got to get this together? And I like to see more of that from Bryce Young as well.
Well, that's it. You know what?
He laid back.
Yeah.
I like to see that more.
Yeah, he's a sophomore. I mean, I'd like to see the offensive line dominate more. You know, I'd like to see a pass rush. I mean, the pass rush in that first half of that game was abysmal. It just wasn't there. I'm watching and I'm looking at it, and everybody's looking at me. They think I'm an expert because I get on here and talk to you guys and I'm like, I don't like the way that this team's playing right now. I don't like the energy. I don't like the fact that no one's rushing the quarterback. It just looks like we showed up and thought, hey, these guys aren't good. We know they're not good. They lost to Mississippi State and Arkansas, but you know what? We weren't ready to go in there and win. And we played 2 road games, and we looked like crap both games. We're lucky to beat Florida. We got out of there by the skin of our teeth. And then this game,
we didn't get out.
That's it. That's it.
We caught up. And so we can't continue to have this kind of thing. That's one of the things that I like to see. It seems as though our physicality, back in the day, you can know that Alabama was going to run the ball.
Oh, yeah.
But you couldn't stop it.
The run never got stopped last night.
No.
It never got stopped. We stopped it when we started throwing the ball. But I mean, I don't know. They want to be balanced. You know, the new offenses, you throw it a lot. You know, we've had success running, and partly because, you know, the pass blocking by the offensive line in the first half wasn't good enough to really be able to throw the ball. I mean, how many times did Bryce Young go down? And then, you know, they were doing all that stuff where they were rushing, you know, extra guys from one side and all this stuff, you know, and it's like, not having McClellan just to flip the football to hurts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like there's a lot of guys on that travel every week that put that uniform on that are coming in blue chip. And it might be time to have some competition and practice. And you know what? If the guy, when you have that kind of, that's what they used to do at USC. When they had their thing going, Pete Carroll, hey, every position's open. Every position's open. I don't care if you're Reggie Bush, you're Matt Leinart. It didn't matter. Every position's open. And then you got to go out there and re-earn it. And then that may be what Alabama needs. I don't know. I'm not Nick Saban. Whatever he does is going to be good enough for me. We're so blessed to have him as our head coach. But, man, I'll tell you what, watching Alabama after the way they played against Ole Miss, we did this show last week. We're talking about how Alabama kicked the crap out of them on the offensive and defensive line. This week, Alabama got ran by a team that's not even half as good as Ole Miss.
Yeah. So, so that's my thoughts. And I was thinking also about that secondary, man. We got to get that secondary fixed because we're having opportunities to get a turnover like that ball that was thrown up in there, and we get a interference call. If our players looking back, that was a duck.
Oh, I know. Maybe you pick it off, right? You're talking about it that made that field goal at the end of the game, of extra point. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So you got Hillum back there, number 2, and instead of him looking back for the ball, he just going diving into the man.
Yep.
That is dead tough. The man was just throwing up for luck. So, but I'll let somebody else get on and roll tide, and hopefully we'll get it better.
We'll be better. Thanks, Eric. Roll Tide to you too. Guys, like and subscribe as you talk to us on a Sunday night. You get those calls in. I'm going right back to the phone lines again, but hit the bell, like and subscribe, and let's dig into this. Talk about last night. You can talk about next game against Mississippi State. Who's this and where you calling from?
What's up, man? This is Caleb from Mississippi.
What's up, Caleb?
Man, I tell you, I was watching the game with my girl last night, and I knew, honestly, from kickoff that something was wrong, like energy-wise. You could just feel it.
100%. You are 100% right.
As soon as they were driving down the field, their quarterback was making every throw. I think at one point he was like 14 for 15. I'm like, oh, God, this kid's about to have a Steven Garcia, South Carolina game.
He did.
And it just looked like it. I knew it. You can just feel it. When Bama has those games, it's those rare games where that energy, you can just tell. And I knew it was going to be a battle. But the thing that's bothering me is, first of all, like I said, the energy was off. But Mike Elko, he had a great defensive game plan. If I'm being honest with you, that overload blitz to the left middle of our line, and you saw it. But he wasn't trying to disguise it. He was overloading that left side of the line, and it came through every single time. And Bama was staying. They were in empty. They stayed in empty most of the game, and I knew it was going to be a sack. Bryce got sacked 4 or 5 times. I can't remember exactly. But that blitz, excuse me, it was coming through every time. It was not getting picked up. I don't know the O-line. I don't know if they're having communication troubles. I don't know if it's just talent. Obviously they wouldn't be playing at Bama if they don't got some talent. Saban has them there for a reason. So I'm really thinking it's some communication issues. But you got to give credit where it's due regarding that. Texas A&M defensive coordinator, and Mike Elko, he was drawing up that blitz, and it was working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If he keeps getting sacked, you got to keep calling it. But there's so many things, man. I could sit on here forever, but everybody, this has been brought up a million times. B-Rob, I think he had ended up with 147 rushing yards. I'm going to be honest with you, man. When we were down there at the 2, and we threw 3 passes, if I'm Bryce, I don't know if I just don't, go rogue and check down to a run and run right behind Evan Neal. It made 0 sense to me. I was screaming.
Oh, I know. Man, look, I was like, hey,
Screaming.
bootleg this. And Bryce Young run it in. Something, right?
It was really
It is frustrating.
The interception that Bryce Young threw was extremely eerie. It was an instant flashback to that A&M loss we got in 2012. It was a little out route to the outside that looked identical to when McCarron threw that interception back in 2012. It looked the same. It wasn't a bootleg like that play, but it was around the same area and the same style. It was eerie. The whole game last night it was just eerie, man. I hated it. I don't know what needs to change. Obviously this might end up being a good thing because we've lost a game in 2011, 12. Over almost all of Saban's championships, we have one loss. But there definitely needs to be some adjustments. I think Job, honestly, I love the dude, but I think Job needs to go. Kool-Aid, I don't know where he's at in terms of the playbook and the scheme and being able to communicate with the linebackers. But Joe, is it just me, or is every other play it looks like Josh Job's getting PI? Is that just me?
I mean, I'm not paying attention enough to that one dude, like I'm guessing that Job, if they feel like he's out there, my thoughts normally like I'm not at practice every day. So there's a reason that particular player, I honestly, dude, I felt like the defensive line was so bad. And you're talking to a guy that used to play, when I used to play football, nothing like this, but, like I used to have to play corner and safety. If the defensive line's not getting any pressure, I can't cover these guys that long. You know what I mean? Like like my job is like, look, man, I'm trying to hang with these guys just long enough for you to put a little pressure on them and then it'll make me look a lot better. It's like you let the guy stand back there. I love to say, you're from Mississippi. We used to do it like this: 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi rush, right? It was like, okay, are we ever going to put pressure on this guy? In the second half we did. The first half was pathetic. I mean, it was just pathetic. Look, I know that Chris Allen's out. I know Drew Sanders is out. They took Will Anderson out of the game. But you know what? There's other guys there that got to help out that can put pressure on the quarterback, and they need to do a better job of it. I mean, Arkansas was back there with 3 guys, so you don't even tell me that it's not that it was just that I felt like it was in the secondary as much as it was the pass rush. I mean, that's the weird thing about football. If I'm covering and the quarterback has all day to throw, eventually the guy's going to find a spot where I can't keep the ball away from him. I'm not Deion Sanders, I'm not Patrick Surtain.
I think part of it is, I mean, A&M had given up 9 sacks and I think I saw where 9 sacks in the last 3 or 4 games. We had 0 sacks and 0 quarterback hurries.
Nothing.
That is alarming considering the dudes that we have on that front four.
Awful. Yep.
I mean, everything that could have went wrong last night.
Look, if you tackle the guy on the kickoff return, we're going to win by 14 points.
Right. And I mean,
they're peeing down their leg at that point. But you know what we did? We let the guy run straight down the field for a touchdown. And that to me is the biggest play of the game. That was the biggest one because that block punt, they're going, oh, you know what? They know it's coming. Then that guy runs it back, and it's like you're instead of being down 7, you're down 14 again, and they didn't even have to run any plays on offense. And their offense got 10 yards in the third quarter.
It's not even about just the score. It's the momentum. It totally crushes you when they take it right back from you like that. You saw like it was all for naught. And like you said, Brian Robinson's not a game breaker at all. He doesn't have that get up and go speed. I feel like nobody really does. We're missing, obviously, Jace is huge. I feel so bad for the kid.
Me too.
He's really hitting stride. But I was thinking about, I think Trey Sanders, you guys were talking about him earlier. I'm pretty sure somebody mentioned he had a hip injury similar to Tua. So I don't know if it's.
We had that car accident, right?
Practice.
Yeah.
Right. So I heard through the grapevine he's had a super, like, Tua was out basically for a whole year.
Right.
And held off in the NFL for a little bit with his hip. And then, I started wondering about Kamar Wheaton, the 5-star we signed this past year.
Well, he's hurt too, right?
Has his brain. Yeah. So we're so thin at running back, I've heard people. I saw somebody mention wanting to throw JoJo Earl back there. I saw this one guy wanting to throw Jalen Milroe even back there.
Right.
Because Milroe's the fastest guy on the team.
I know.
They
may have to.
He would be a running back, but we got an emergency, a running back emergency situation. We got a mentality emergency situation.
Yep.
So I don't know what needs to change. I don't know what they need to do, but. That game last night was completely inexcusable. We got beat simply because we were lazy. At the end of the day, that was just pure laziness, and effort was non-existent. That's all that was. So,
well, Caleb, thanks for calling in, brother.
Yeah, man, you have a good night. And just remember, everybody listening right now, 2011, 12, 15, and 17, we won that natty with one loss. And we got the GOAT on our side. Get it fixed, baby. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Well said, man. I brought that up last night. I got the Daniel Moore pictures to prove it. All right, let's starting to wind this down, guys. Like and subscribe as you hang out. Let's go back to the phones and talk a little bit about this game. And I appreciate all you guys for being with us here on the BamaInsider YouTube channel on a Sunday night. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is David from Louisiana.
What's up, David?
Oh, man. I'm getting it bad on this end of the country, I tell you that. All my friends that are LSU fans are reaming me a good one. Whew,
well, what can they say? I mean, look, David, I know they got their asses whooped. I mean, like, yes, I'm sorry to be that graphic, but what happened to them down in Lexington, Kentucky? We've lost to Kentucky twice in the history of the world, maybe 3 times. We've never been beaten like that by Kentucky. It was like 42-21. Just remind them of that if they come at you too hard.
Oh, yeah, I did. Trust me, but they still giving me hell about it. But, no, man, watching that game last night and the way A&M's defense was just overloading the box and everything. I mean, the offensive coordinator, he comes from the NFL, and I know a lot of the stuff goes through Saban and everything else. And but I was wondering why, I know we're kind of thin on running backs and stuff. Why couldn't we put at least 2 side by side, having Bryce in the middle and one on each side of him or something to help pick up that, that pressure coming in, or do a diamond style formation, it just aggravated me. And I was watching, I don't know which one it was. I think it was Billingsley. I'm not sure. Just walking while the guy, was trying to run, not even trying to block for him or anything, just walking behind him. And I was just, it just, man, I tell you what, it was just pathetic. It was sad. It was sad. I think that, like Saban always says, that rat poison. And I think they might have, some of them players thinking, well, what we done last week to Ole Miss, we're going to do the same thing, just nonchalantly just go in and beat A&M. But A&M came to play, and it's
well, David, look, A&M had to. Their back was up against the wall. Like that saved their season. Yeah. Even though I still think they're going to lose other games, they may even lose to that terrible Ole Miss team. LSU team. Like they're going to lose more games. Yeah. This isn't going to change their season. They're not going to be any different than we know who they are, and they're going to be that same team. But Saturday, they put it all together, and Alabama turned the football over. They went in there and played timid. The offensive line got beat. The defensive line got beat. The game plan stunk. They did everything bad, and they still lost on the last-second field goal. I'm just going to tell you that right now that there's going to be I'm just guessing there's going to be a lot more competition in practice, and guys are going to be a lot more focused on exactly what it's going to take to get the job done. Because we know we've been around Nick Saban long enough. He's loyal, and he's going to give those guys a shot, just like B-Rob. You know, hey, look, he came back for that 6th year, and he's earned that playing time. But those other dudes on that offensive line that you're watching them get, basically get trucked in that first half, it might be time to let some of these other guys in there. Maybe some of these guys at wideout won't drop the ball. I'm sick and tired of watching these guys drop footballs, and it just didn't happen this week. Now, what happened is that we got spoiled with 4 first-round picks at wide receiver. Now we got guys that drop the ball. We didn't have that before. Smitty didn't drop the ball. Waddle didn't drop the ball. Ruggs didn't drop the ball. They didn't drop it. Now these guys are dropping the ball, and it's killing us.
Yeah, it's like they're scared to get hit, and then, Devontae, whenever he played, he was one of the smallest ones on the team, and taking licks and still holding on to the ball and catching the ball, One of the callers earlier was talking about Slade Bolden and how he's not that fast. He's pretty quick. But one thing I can say about Slade, he does his job, and he does it pretty well. I mean, he's blocking downfield, when need be. And I mean, I think he's a really good, player. Just my personal opinion. And it's not because he's from Louisiana. I mean, it has nothing to do with that. I see Slade. I mean, he don't get a lot of touches, but when he does, he comes through most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think if we would have had Drew Sanders, if he wouldn't been out, I think he could have probably stepped up on the defense. I mean, he's really good. Drew Sanders is really good. I like Drew. I mean, he's a good football player. But they had our number last night, and it's like I was saying, you can't win them all. I wish we could, but we can't win them all. But I think this coming up weekend, I think it's going to be a whole different Alabama team. I think Saban's going to make these guys run a lot of sprints and get them lined out one way or the other. 'Cause, they got to start focusing. If they want to try to get into the playoffs, now's the time to start proving it. You can't do it lollygagging around, that's for sure.
Yeah. But look, he's won a lot of championships with teams that didn't win at all. His championship at LSU, they had a loss. He's won 6? Is it 6 championships at Alabama? 4 of them they haven't. They lost a game, and they're focused when they lose a game, and that's part of it. That is part of his teaching style. And look, as much as I like last year's team, and I loved last year's team, I mean, I love them, still love them. They didn't have to go on the road and play in front of these kind of crowds because we didn't have crowds last year. So they've had to play at Florida, and they've had to play at Texas A&M. There's a lot of people making a lot of noise in there, and now that they lost, Mississippi State's going to think they're going to beat Alabama. I think Alabama's going to bring I think Mississippi State's in for a woodshed beating on Saturday. And I think that it's going to be a refocused Alabama team because if they probably feel worse than I feel. And I'm going to tell you something. I have had a terrible day. It's been awful. Thinking about it, that and the Deontay Wilder fight, like those two things, like my sports world was crushed last night. So think about being on the team, So I'm guessing those guys are going to be ready to go.
What do you think Jeremy Pruitt might be looking for another job back with Alabama by any time? I know he's with the Giants right now.
Yeah, he's with the Giants. I'd take Jeremy Pruitt back. No offense to Pete Golding. I know Pete. I think Pete I think Pete's he's good enough that Nick Saban likes him. Texas tried to steal him away last year. They paid him. But I would take Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt doesn't need to be anywhere near the microphone. He doesn't need to be head coach. He needs to be a defensive coordinator. And you know what? Maybe after the way that things went for him at Tennessee, you get him locked in and he's there and now you got him. And he's there for the long term. David, thank you for calling us tonight, man. Don't forget, after every game we'll be here and every Sunday night.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one and roll tide.
Roll Tide. All right, guys, I'm going to go overtime. I'm going to do one more call, and I do appreciate all of you that have been part of the show tonight as we've talked about this game from last night. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Big NFL game coming up tonight that I know that a lot of you guys are kind of locked in on this, just like I am, feeling the same way. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Dana from Atlanta.
What's up, Dana?
Hi. So I've been a long-time Bama fan and also went there, graduated from there, and I've seen a lot of one-loss Alabama teams win championships. What always gets me is other teams don't beat us, we beat ourselves. And that's what it comes down to. I don't think that Texas A&M was a better team, but if you think about it, it's a trap game. They came fully prepared. They had a very good game plan from the beginning, and went with it. I mean, to them, that's a national championship type game. They're probably going to lose the rest of their games from here on out, but they can say that they beat number one Alabama at home. I've also been to Cal Field before, and it's a very hard place to play. I remember, I think I went in 2015 or 2016, and just being there, whenever they do their little sway thing, the whole stadium.
What is that, Dana?
Underneath.
Can I ask you this? I don't want to interrupt you because you're on a roll right now and you're killing it because you're in my brain. I've said the exact same thing about overlooking them after the way that things went, Ole Miss, all the hype. But what's that sway thing that they do? It's creepy.
I think it's, yeah, very. But when they do that in unison, it makes the entire stadium shake from underneath your feet. And so, I mean, for them to go into an environment like that, it's honestly it felt like South Carolina did whenever we lost. Going into that type of environment and that team just being so ready to just beat Alabama, and that's all they care about, it's very hard to overcome that. However, I do feel like we made the adjustments at the half and played a much better second half than we did the first half. But honestly, we still beat ourselves with drop passes and missed assignments and not making tackles when they needed to be made.
Well, how about the kickoff return? Like you get the blocked field goal. I mean, the blocked punt touchdown, and then you kick the ball. Like if you kick it in the end zone, they don't return it. If they don't return it, they don't score. They're peeing down their leg. It's over. Instead, we let them run it right back, and that was where we lost the game to me. That's where I felt like even when we had the lead late, I felt like that was the play where you're like, you got them right where you want them, and you let them off the hook.
Right. That and the drop touchdown.
Yep. Well, they were dropping balls all over the field last night.
Oh, yeah, they were. It was nauseating. Yeah, but, I mean, I feel confident in the team to be able to get it back together and to come back from this. And, I mean, I really think that we'll win out and go to the SEC championship. I mean, I've seen it happen a lot before. It's very hard to play those teams that only care about beating number one Alabama. It reminds me a lot of like Auburn in 2019. That's what this loss reminds me of.
Yep. I agree. And I agree with everything you said. I mean, really, like that's their Super Bowl. They'll stink again next week. They'll lose to LSU, who's awful. They'll lose to Auburn. They'll lose to they'll lose these games, and you're going to be like, how did they beat Alabama? They beat Alabama because Alabama gave that game away. I think if Alabama played them 50 times, they win one time. I don't think they're even close to being as good as Alabama. But last night was that one time, and it all came down to being focused, which is in the post-game press conference what Nick Saban was focused on talking about. And I believe him. I mean, he knows what he's talking about. I mean, and I love when he gets into that mode where it's like, I got everyone's attention now. We're going to do it my way.
I feel like they kind of get a wake-up call, and you know, they have their backs against the wall now. Like, now we have to win out. Nothing's just handed to you. You really have to go out there and do the work.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and listen, everything you said is true. You got to beat Mississippi State. You got to beat Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to overlook LSU. And Ed,
No.
They took my video off here. I guess we ran out of room, but you guys know I love to play that video of Ed on the center of the field after they beat Alabama for the one time. And he's talking about, Tuscaloosa's their house. They're coming back to T-Town. I got a feeling we'll be ready for that one. I'm looking for, there's a forecast for pain in that game. But I'll tell you, the game that worries me the most right now is the one down at Auburn. Because the way that this team plays on the road, they're much different. They're a 20, 25-point difference right now between home and road.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to lose out.
Oh, yeah. That's a big difference.
I mean, you live in Atlanta, you lose that game, it's a lot of talking going on.
Right. I'm always worried about Auburn. I feel like even going into the Iron Bowl with a 0-win Auburn team is still up in the air. But I also hate the fact that it's at Auburn because I feel like they get a little help every time.
No doubt. Well, the help's called Auburn Jesus.
Right. Exactly.
Anything else, Dana, before we get off here?
No, that's it. Thank you so much. And Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide, call back. We do this after every single game here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And then on Sunday night, we always have our call-in show. So appreciate you and appreciate all you guys for hanging out on a Sunday night to talk about this game. The comments section has been absolutely fire tonight. You guys have brought the heat. The callers have been amazing. It's been just, this show has gone by so fast. Like and subscribe as you hang out. Don't forget, Monday Night Quarterback is tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Tuesday, Andrew Bone and Trey Yannity will be on to give you the update on recruiting. Alabama now has the number one recruiting class. They just got the number one tight end, Jaleel Skinner, who committed last Friday. Kyle Henderson, Tony Sukalis, our entire crew will be on. And then don't forget, this Friday night, we'll do the Bama Insider Tailgate Show from Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. So we got a lot going on. But thank you guys so much for being part of the show. I appreciate all of you guys. It's been a tough day. And hanging out with you is my therapy. I promise you. I think we all kind of got together today and kind of felt the same way. We just needed to vent. We needed to talk about this game. And we all did it together here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. All right, guys. Thank you for being a part of the show, and Roll Tide.